Rust. It's one of those games that I love to hate. It's an amazing game and it brings so much to the table as far as gameplay and elements go that it is just crazy. This game has the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. You put all this time into building a base, you build up your character, you get these items that take you hours and hours and hours of work to get, and then in the blink of an eye, they can all be gone. And you might not even know it. You're sleeping at your bed, at home, in real life, and you're losing shit in Rust. It's horrible. But at the same time, you can do the same to someone else. That neighbor that bugged you, that person who yelled racial slurs at you, you can raid their base. You can take everything that they made, hours and hours of work, maybe even days of work, and you can destroy it. And as much as I hate to admit it, that's a rush, and that's what brings me back to the game. The amount of creativity that you can display and the amount of sheer pettiness that you can exact upon people is spectacular. It's something that you don't get in any other game. In Call of Duty, Fortnite, Warzone, whatever game you want to name, you're taking 20 minutes from someone. In Rust, you're taking days. This is something that they worked to build up. This is something that they put time, effort, and sweat into, and you're able to take that from them because they didn't prepare enough. They didn't build enough defenses. Their base wasn't perfect enough. And the same goes for you. And I'll tell you what, the highest highs are when you're able to get that. When you shoot someone on the map and you realize they've got an AK, they've got an amazing gun, they've got explosives, you can grab it all, you can run, and now you've got 30, 40 hours of someone's hard work sitting in your base and you're a happy camper. But at the same time, the lowest of lows come when someone comes in, takes everything, and leaves you sort of hopeless and wrecked. Wipes in Rust, they only last 1 week to 1 month. So being raided at the wrong time means that whole week, that whole month is worthless. But raiding at the right time means that next week, that next month is going to be amazing. It's a game that keeps drawing you back because it just has so many different aspects to it. The building allows you to get creative with everything. You can create traps, you can make shops, you can use electricity to light your base and create some sort of weird contraption that does something that nobody even really cares about, but it'll still do it. It is a game that offers an amazing amount of potential as far as creativity goes, and the community is interesting. Some of the people are horrible people that if you met in real life, you'd probably punch them in the face. Despite the fact that they try and charge you with a felony, you don't care. It's worth it. That's how bad some of these people are, and I guarantee that you will meet these people if you're playing this game. But the community overall is pretty good here. You run into players in the game, and when they take time to talk to you, when they take time to help you, it really means something because most players wouldn't. You know that you found a friend out there, or at least a friend who's your friend until they raid your base and take everything that you worked for. There are trust issues that come with Rust. There's PTSD, there's anxiety, but at the same time, it keeps bringing you back. Taking a boat out and just watching the sunset, riding your horse down the road, or getting in a car and mowing over some neighbors. That's all something you can do, and it is so much fun. And it just brings me back to this game. It's one of those games that I'm hesitant to recommend because it takes so much time away from you. When you sit down for a wipe, you're dedicating a week or a month of your life to this game. And this game now has an app. It sends messages to your cell phone. So you can be sitting there at work or school or whatever, and you're going to get a message that says, hey, all your stuff is being taken. That stuff that you've spent hours and hours and hours every night gathering, it's being taken right now. Do you really want to focus on this meeting or college algebra or whatever you're learning, right? It's so immersive that I think it's almost a bad thing. I don't even have the app installed because it's just that bad. But at the same time, it's so good that they give you these options because there's some players who really love to take advantage of them. I can see if your kid's sitting home at summer, you've got nothing to do, COVID is ravaging the country. It's cool to have this because you're just sitting at home bored. Maybe you're watching some TV, right? You're sitting there watching Firefly, a show from 2006 that probably doesn't have the greatest graphics anymore. You're sitting there watching it. You get a message on your phone, and now you've got something to do. You log in, you rock and roll, and you mow down some enemies. That's exhilarating. That's amazing. And they gave you that potential. And that's something that actually is somewhat difficult to code that they managed to do. And the fact that this game keeps expanding. Before 2020, we didn't have cars in this game. Now there's cars, there's vehicles. You can craft up a nice, engine, all the parts, put them into a vehicle. Now you're out there running over your neighbor. You can create these amazing traps, components, and things, and every now and then they're adding new elements to it. You can create farms. You can go to a fishing village. All sorts of crazy stuff is becoming possible, and they just keep improving on this game, and that's one of the things that brings me back. Every time I say I'm done with this game, I've had it, I've lost too many hours of my life to it, I look at the updates and there's something new. They've added something cool that I just need to experience, and it brings me back. And that's why I've got to say I recommend this game. It is such an amazing game. There's such an amount of creativity in it that it just blows my mind. You see people, there's all these servers where people are role-playing and they're creating these cool houses and villages and all sorts of crazy stuff. And when you get into these modded servers, that's where this game really shines. You can do PvP if you want. You can just sit around building some crazy contraptions, and you're not bothered, right? If you don't want to deal with getting raided when you're offline, there's a server for you. If you only want to get raided when you're offline, there's a server for that too, I'm sure. I wouldn't recommend it, but some of you guys might like it. But yeah, whatever you want to do, there's a server for you. And this is a PC version of the game. If you're here in the future, because everybody's here in the future, because you guys get what I'm saying. If you're here in the future, this game did release for Xbox One and PS4, and I do not know how the servers are going to work for that, but I'm guessing that when it starts, there's just going to be official servers, which means you're going to be getting sort of that baseline experience. It's going to take you a while to farm resources because there's not going to be a server that will give you everything, right? You're going to have to sit, you're going to have to put hours into playing the game, but at the same time, because it's on console, it's probably going to be less of a learning, there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve for everybody there, right? So it's going to be a little bit easier to get into it, and it's probably not going to be as time intensive, at least initially. On the computer, it can get pretty sweaty on the official servers. When you sit down to play a game, play a wipe, it means that you're putting hours and hours and hours into the game before you can get to those sort of coveted tier 3 components where you can actually start raiding people and playing the game. And that's one of the things. The end game in this game is all powerful. If you have an AK, like the best gun in the game, and you know how to fire it, which, full disclosure, I don't, and you know how to fire it, you're going to just take people out. It's crazy, right? So the end game is a little bit high, and it's a little bit annoying, I've got to admit that. But at the same time, it's a really good game, and I definitely recommend it. It's one of those games that's going to suck you in. You're going to love the FPS elements, the survival elements, and no matter who you are, no matter how you play, there's going to be a server for you, and hopefully you're going to enjoy it. Anyways, guys, that's all I've got for this. That's sort of my review of Rust, my explanation of the game as far as it goes in 2020. There's so much to talk about. I couldn't get to everything, but the facts are the developers keep updating this game. The game has some amazing components to it. Running monuments and just playing the game is so much fun. Even if you don't get to end game, it's so worth it. So, yeah, if you're looking for, a game to sink another 100, 200, 300 hours of your life into, Rust is a game for you. You might end up putting way more than that in even. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that I sort of gave you a a nice little overview of Rust. I hope that I gave you guys an idea for what it is and whether or not it's a game that you want to play. If you do have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. I'll try my best to answer everybody's comments, and I do read all the comments. Also, if you're looking for a beginner guide or anything like that, go to my YouTube channel page, and I've got a ton of Rust guides, just going over tips and tricks, beginner's guides, advanced guides, everything like that, and those are going to really help you guys excel. So, yeah, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and until next time, peace.